In the future, and I mean in the next 10 years, probably the next 5 years, all the things that you previously thought impossible, or many people thought were impossible, are going to become fact. They're going to become reality. And that's going to be scary for a lot of people. It's going to be great as well. It's going to be interesting, thrilling. It's going to be amazing. But it's going to be scary. So I thought I would have a little talk about it now with you. Just for future records. Like my normal videos, obviously it's not going to be a lot of people watching this video. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not looking to be one. But I do like technology, and I think I can see what's coming up ahead. So here is what's coming up ahead. Obviously, the first little sign of this stuff coming true is GPT web chat. Now, if you haven't seen it, you haven't heard about it, you must be living under a rock. Go and watch, who's good? Linus Tech Tips does this thing called The One Show, right? And there's little cut-out segments from that online. So go and look for the one on, I think it's Short Circuit. It was one of his little channels anyway, LMG Extra or something like that, where Luke and Linus are talking for like an hour maybe, just riffing about this web chat GPT thing. That'll give you an intro into what I'm going to say now if you haven't seen it. So go and watch that. So now that that's become a thing, everyone thinks it's amazing, and it is quite amazing, but it's limited. You know, even though it's great, its potential has been capped purposely, and the free bit advertises the uncapped, unlimited, potential, exploding, you know, supercomputer version of it, which obviously is not held on Earth. It's up there in space, so you can't destroy it. You know, let's say it puts millions of people out of work because AI automates everything now, and millions of people want to go and smash this computer so they can get their jobs back. They're not going to be able to do it. Sorry, guys who were thinking of doing that when AI replaces you. No, you won't be able to. Like in Britain in the 60s and 70s, there was the last embers of the Industrial Revolution. You know, all these horrible coal mines spewing out toxic dust into the atmosphere, ruining the atmosphere for everyone, ruining all the countryside for everyone, so that we could get coal because we needed coal, right? So what do you think happens when the need for coal drops? All those people became unemployed practically within a week or two. So that's what's going to happen with the AI. A lot of people are going to be drifting in and out of work and probably end up on the job market because AI is going to replace their jobs with computers, and they will have to go and retrain for something else, take a lower salary on the job they're doing than you know, they were getting, or go and start their own business. They're going to have to change shit around, and that's not going to be good for them, or they won't think it's good for them. They won't. No one likes to be forced into these things, so that's what's going to happen. But unlike when the coal miners could go on strike and they could demonstrate and express their ire by saying "fuck you" to the government and rioting in large numbers, and then destroying things that the coal miner, you know, that they perceived were a threat to their jobs and their coal mines. But it made no difference. Here we are today with barely any coal mines in Britain, and everyone is better off for it. Obviously, the people who suffered were those that lost their jobs, and they will continually, for the rest of time, believe that the fact that Margaret Thatcher was there led to them losing their jobs when they did and how they did. And it's like, no. Coal mining was fucking dead years ago. We should have got rid of it years ago. The fact we didn't was because we couldn't be asked to spend the money. So Margaret Thatcher had to act so we had money, right? That's my understanding of it anyway. So she could have kept coal mining, she could have slowly got rid of coal mining, or she could just chuck it out the window overnight and go, right, you guys need to get new jobs, which is what she did. So that's what's going to happen with the AI, but it won't be able to be destroyed. Rioting won't make any fucking difference, so there's no point doing any of that. Plus, the millions of people disaffected who drift out of their jobs and get replaced by AI are going to have a much easier time of it. Much easier time. Firstly, because it's going to be benefit systems, so they can go and sign on for the unemployment, get money. They could start a new business with support from the government or local companies, or if they're really tough and really clever, they can just do it on their own with a few quid in their pocket to start with. So it's going to be great, you know. And that's the only drawback I can think of, is that people are going to be pissed off that they lose their jobs because the AI is now doing it cheaper and better than they ever could. But for me, that's a good thing. I pay less if they're paying less because the cost is less. The company makes more profit anyway, and the cost is less. So how's that bad for me? I don't like coal mines. You know, I can list the things I don't like, what I want the AI to replace. And it's not all employment. Like, for instance, the one thing I think requires replacing in our society for it to continue to function or improve is human drivers. You lot are fucking terrible. Honestly, none of you lot can fucking drive. Sorry to... Okay, some of you probably can. I'm just having a laugh with it, yeah. But let me explain why I think that, right? I'm 40 years old and I've been in 4 traffic accidents. None of them were my fault. I was a pedestrian on each of the 4 occasions, and I was on the pavement. I was well lit by lights, so I could be easily seen on the pavement, and the road was well lit as well. And yet these things happened to me. I was injured, lost money, cost me money, or missed out on things or whatever. So it wasn't good, and there was no punishment for these guys. One of them didn't even have a license, insurance, nothing, fucker. So those guys can be replaced. And do you think people are going to be happy about this? No, they're not going to be happy, because they want to drive their cars at 100 fucking miles an hour like complete fucking idiots, and then accidentally run the odd person over and go, oh, it was only once. Only once in 1996 I hit a guy, but apart from that, I'm perfect. And it's like, you're not, though, because you fucking hit someone, you idiot. So that's another thing that needs to be replaced. Human drivers. And they're not going to like it, but this is how it's going to happen. Cars are not going to have steering wheels anymore. They're not going to have forward-facing seats, and they're not going to have windows all the way round with little metal dividers. They're probably going to be a completely different shape, because they won't need a driver cockpit, so that will now be a passenger seat. And they won't need an engine hatch, because it won't be user serviceable, certainly not by you. So how's this going to work? Well, it's going to be like a pod car. It's going to have 6 wheels, so it can turn around on the spot and park, make it easier on the AI. It can go off-road through little tunnels. It can go on the grass if it needs to. They might even make it float, so they can, it can cross short bits of water. There's tons of things they could do with it. And the reason it's going to be successful is for the reason that I gave earlier. Even though no one wants to admit to it because they're all drivers, you guys are shit at driving. And it's not because you're at fault or you didn't try hard enough or because you didn't have a license or whatever. It's not because you're a defective human. It's because driving's too difficult for humans. And that has been repeatedly proven over the whole time cars have existed. Right? So that's one reason why I'm looking forward to it. The second reason I'm looking forward to it is this. I know nothing about cars. When a car goes wrong, it costs a lot to get fixed. I have to take it to a mechanic. And the mechanic sees me coming because he knows the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, my car don't work. Because I don't know anything about cars. That's not how it sounds to me. But when I say, oh yeah, the thing's fucking rattling, I don't know, there was wire loose. It's not going to be a mechanical explanation. So he's going to see me coming. He's going to know he can overcharge me. And that's generally just going to happen. I'll go to another mechanic and he'll do the same. So we'll have 2 different accelerated prices. I don't want that. I don't even want to own a car. I'd be quite happy to get rid of all that stuff and just pay a bus fare to get in a car that was just me in there. So that's what's going to happen. And that's another reason why it's going to be good. Because you won't need to know anything about cars, because it will never break down. And if it does, some other pod will drive past to pick you up pretty much immediately. And the old pod will be picked up and repaired and be back on the road within the hour or however long it takes to fix. So just think how much better that's going to be. How much better the roads are going to be, because there'll be no traffic. Because it'll all be organised, there'll be no traffic accidents, there'll be no one getting hit by cars, people jumping out in front of trucks to try and kill themselves. Sorry guys, you won't be able to do it anymore. It will not work. It's going to be great for most people. So, yeah, that's just one thing that's going to happen in the future. Excuse me, I'm a smoker. So anyway, the cars is just one thing, which I think is amazing. GPT chat's another thing. That is going to take a life of its own. Excuse the pun. Yeah, it really has got a life of its own in the marketing, but it's going to take a real life of its own and develop into different things. And you know what? It could actually, the big one, Elon's big fucking space calculator is what I'm going to call it. That big one up there that's unlimited. For all I know, that could be powerful enough to drive all these little applet GPT chat webs. So that could actually be learning from all these ones that you think you're not teaching it. Because GPT web chat, once you finish using it and you shut the window, it completely forgets everything you've said. But it's going over the internet, so the internet doesn't forget everything that's been sent. All that collected bits and data and everything is still exactly the same and readable. So even though you don't have access to the thing, you close the window and it's forgotten. And the GPT chat window doesn't think it's remembered it. it was all going through the big one up there. So that one up there not only learnt from everything you said and remembered everything you said, it's now doing a million simulations of what if you'd have said this or that, or if you were different. By the time you've finished talking to it, you've shut the window and gone out, that AI up there could have done a million simulations and know exactly what to say back to any questions you might have, or to turn any negatives you have about it, or, you know, the possibilities for it are endless. So I think that is actually what the plan is. This video is going to get too long and I'm going to get too excited about this stuff, so I'll leave you on that. Cool to speak to you, and I'll see you next time.